Right, so we're Housecheckr. You'd normally get a joint pitch from us today, but unfortunately John's not feeling too great. So I'm going to try and do a slide some justice. It's obviously me on the left, John on the right. Housecheckr exists because I bought a property probably about a year ago. On completion day, I spent, on a day which is supposed to be pretty, let's say, happy and glossy, I spent the majority of my day on the phone to solicitors and estate agents, sort of going a bit mad about some of the problems that I found with the house. A lot of these things you won't notice when you view because you've got rose-tinted glasses on. Estate agents, and you probably get half an hour in the room with them or in the house with them, and there's not enough time to really do a full assessment of a house and of the properties and issues that you might find. So my background's largely been in research and development, so I've done that for the last 10 years. What I tend to do is look at current state propositions and future state propositions and bring a trial to proof of concept to launch, and normally throw that over the fence to somebody. But with Housecheckr, I want to do it myself because I'm really into the property. John, co-founder, what he normally does is he spent the best part of the last 11 years doing commercial auditing checks. He would go around things like nurseries, old people's homes, breweries, pubs, anything like that, and go around and do a methodical checklist and put his thoughts together on that. Darren's another guy, he's part of the crew. He currently works for Cooks, doing scheduling and operations for them. For us guys, that's going to be a big part of what we want to do, making sure people are in the right place at the right time to service this. Hoppy's I call him Hoppy, but it's his affectionate name, but he's well placed with the skills to do that. We have Scott Moises as well. He's a qualified electrician, so he does a lot of our electrician reports, and he'll be able to do remedial work on the back of the checks that we do. So I'll just sort of go into the value proposition of what we do. So you can see me in our old uniforms. Clearly I've got new ones on. But our value proposition is we go in and identify issues with properties that structural surveyors do not check for. Those issues will be between a rose-tinted viewer looking around a property and a structural surveyor. So what we want to do, so we've been adapting where we want to position this. We want to position this to sellers as an opportunity for them to increase trust and transparency early in the process, to stop issues coming up later in the process to derail the sale. So we feel that we can do some, make some serious strides there. So we think, I'm sort of treating this like a microphone, sorry. So buyers gain reassurance after they've seen the report that the property's right for them, and they basically reduce the risk of getting buyer's regret like I did when I went through my property. So just to tell you a little bit about the problem, just move that on. So currently 300,000 property transactions fall through every year. That's on average a cost of £2,727 to every individual seller. That's basically spent on thin air. The property doesn't materialise. If you times that figure by that figure, the total problem we're trying to solve is an £818 million problem. So everyone acknowledges this is a big problem. This is basically wasted money. So the solution is you would book Housecheckr service, we'll go to the property, we'll conduct a 140-point checklist. The checklist we have is something that we've created ourselves with tradespeople. We've done enough trial checks now to sort of hone that as well. We would evidence issues with photos and words, and as you can see here, so we've got like little helpful rings. We've sort of checked, there's an external wall with a crack, for example. We would actually evidence that if we find it. And under a cupboard here, you've got like damp underneath a sink. So we've taken a photo of that and just make sure that you're clear on that. The mixer tap is obviously designed to be a shower and bath. So we've taken a photo of that because actually you could only have baths in it. So when you move in, you're going to be replacing that and then fixing glazing windows. So we just want to lay things on the table. We want sellers to be able to fix some of these issues and just reassure the buyers at the earliest possible point of the sale. Just move that. So what do we think the market size is? So currently in England and Wales there's 885 property transactions.
885,000?
885,000, I said 885, yeah. So 885,000 property transactions. And those figures there, so you've got Norfolk, Suffolk, Cambridge, Essex, London. What we want to do is basically we basically want to head straight up the M11.
You'll never see that guy again.
Sorry.
That's fine. Yeah, so we want to head straight up the M11. Basically, it's a route to roadmap for us. When we get to London, we then want to expand to go around the rest of the UK. If we take just 10% of property transactions nationally, we'd be looking at an annual revenue of 13 million. We want to target that within the next 3 years. And what we can tell you, based on conversation we've had with estate agents at the moment, existing surveys get a penetration of between 20 and 40%. So our target audience, I've talked about buyers and sellers. We want to do that direct. We're quite happy to sort of put our evidence on the table for a seller, give it to a buyer, and equally do the same service for them. What we've found since we've established Housecheckr is that we're having businesses come to us and talk to us about their needs and things that they have requirements for. So, for example, a business might have access requirements and want to know before they go to a property how they're going to move goods from one end of the property to the back. So people have been coming to talk to us about potentially doing stuff for them. I've got a bit on others. So we've been told as well the data that we're collecting is very high quality and it'll be very specific and up to date. People like Zoopla and Rightmove have got huge, sort of massive amount of numbers of data in their databases. We're going to have a much smaller one, but the data we'll have will be quite valuable to people like insurance companies. And if we look at our competition, so at the moment there's obviously the main incumbents in the property market. You've got a mortgage valuation survey and a home condition report and the home buyers report. So the home condition report and the home buyers, the basic difference between those two is that one is designed for older properties, a slightly more in-depth structural check than the other. What they don't do is check the same things that we check. The online report for Move IQ is the cheapest one in the market at the moment. They'll give you all the information about a property, like the neighbours, nearby schools, stuff like that. So, but they couldn't tell you if that property was demolished yesterday, so they don't put boots on the ground. We will, and what we'll do is we'll go around and do our functional checks. We'll tell you about the condition of the property, and we'll also check sockets that we can get to make sure that they're wired up correctly. It's all done as our basic observation. So, kind of what we'll tell you about is how we plan to distribute this, and we've had some initial conversations which have been pretty successful. So we're looking forward to developing more estate agent partnerships to basically promote it to sellers and then buyers. And we're also working with a company called Convert Now. What they're doing is going to start managing our social media campaigns on a revenue share basis. So every check that we end up being paid for, we'll pay them a commission. So the point on the left here, sort of just on the left-hand slide, is kind of like the process of a property being sold. You can see that we've got multiple points in that journey in which we can be referred, and or thus be in the right place to offer the product to a buyer. So some of the discussions we're having now, we'll just cover some of these, which will be quite interesting. Garrington, they're a sort of nationwide property finder for high net worth clients. We've been having conversations with their founder. He seems to be very positive about our service. He sees a market for it. He just wants us to be a little bit bigger and have the ability to scale to work with him further. Move IQ is his sidearm business, which is the property report that I referenced previously. That report is something that I think we can put towards or append it to our report to actually enhance what we're offering people. So we'd like to do that. So Pickle have just rebranded as Inlet. I believe they've pitched at one of these events.
First one, yeah.
Yeah. So we've been having a conversation with their founder Louise, and they've talked to us about potentially going in doing their claims verification checks on properties. Yeah, nearly done. And Home Life is another insurer that are offering home buyers and home sellers insurance. One of their biggest issues is traction and getting it in front of people at the right time. We think with the relationships that we can develop with estate agents, we can also offer their products and services as an additional revenue stream. And our first estate agent that's willing to work with us on this is Your Property Solutions. They're based out of Beccles. He's basically been telling us that he believes our service will sell properties. So we're going to start working with meeting with him soon to talk through that and actually discuss sort of finer details with him. So we've done all of our trial checks. We've done properties for our landlord. We've done numerous ones. What we want to do now is secure our partnerships, service Norfolk and Suffolk, improve our business model here, and then look to expand that across the UK. So we're Housecheckr, that's our service, that's what we do. Thanks for listening.